Hello and welcome to the February 18th edition of the Gold, Goats, and Guns Short News. My name is Tom Luongo. We have a lot to talk about. And today I want to talk about Amazon and tax credits and tax subsidies and all that stuff, because there's a whole lot of misconceptions out there going on as to why this deal fell through. Amazon creating their second headquarters on Long Island, right? All right, but before we do that, let's do some housekeeping. So you can join my live streams on Monday nights at 8 p.m. and Friday nights at 8:30. It's a good time, about 15-20 minutes worth of opening remarks, and then we just open it up for questions, and it's kind of free form. It's also NSFW, so bring headphones if you've got kids. And you can follow my work over at tomluongo.me, as well as you can support my work over at Patreon/Gold, Goats, and Guns, where we monthly produce an investment newsletter that ties all the geopolitics and all this stuff up into a coherent investment thesis. All right, so let's get to the brass tacks with Amazon. So we all have heard that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and a couple of other squeaky wheels in New York City were able to scuttle the deal for Amazon to create its second headquarters on Long Island. And now the deal is dead. And it's all about this $1.5 billion in tax credits that Amazon was supposed to be getting. And of course, the left was outraged that the biggest company in the world would be getting $1.5 billion in tax credits. Now let's start with some basics. That's over 10 years. So it's $150 million a year in taxes that we've paid to the city of New York and the state of New York, approximately, right? And this is versus an estimated tax bill, from what I've seen from some various estimates. Simon Black over at Sovereign Man did a nice rundown on this. And these were lowball figures, mind you, that after this tax credit, Amazon would generate $500 million a year in revenue for the state. So there's this idea that, one, that New York City was just going to cut a $1.5 billion check to the richest company in the world is nonsense. The other part of this, of course, is that Amazon doesn't pay any federal income taxes. And the reason it doesn't pay any federal income taxes is because, as we Wall Street guys have been saying for 15 years, and much to many's consternation, Amazon doesn't make any money. Officially, Amazon makes tons of money, but it takes all the money that it makes and plows it back into its balance sheet. It buys assets with it. It uses it to fuel growth, which is why it's now the largest company in the world. Okay, so if Amazon was happy being just a simple reseller of goods and just being an online retailer and not a video streaming service and not a data center behind the scenes, and if it wasn't interested in all those other verticals, all those other markets, Amazon would have become a simple income company ages ago. But it's still a growth company, because that's the philosophy of Jeff Bezos, which is why he named the company Amazon in the first place, after the largest river in the world, because this was always his goal, to build the largest company in the world. Now, you can take that however you want. You can hate it, you can love it, whatever. It doesn't matter. That's the company's philosophy. Okay, so it's not going to pay any federal income tax if it doesn't actually generate any on-balance profit, on balance sheet profit, using, FINRA rules. This is the way things work. They plow all of their profits back into the company in order to serve the customer better and to get into different markets. And you can like Amazon, you can hate Amazon because of their relationship with the CIA or this or that, whatever. It's fine. I don't care. That's not what this is about. Okay? But tax credits are not subsidies. I'll say it again for those who are economically challenged. Tax credits are not subsidies. I know all the leftists that are watching this are going to turn this, are going to say, no, Tom, you're wrong. No, I'm not wrong. Stay with me and hold on for a second. Tax credits are not subsidies in the same way that downloading music off of BitTorrent is a loss of revenue for the record company. Why? It was revenue you were never going to get in the first place. Amazon's HQ deal with Long Island was predicated on them getting certain tax credits in order to cut the deal. This is a deal. And the reason it was a deal, and the reason that Amazon had the ability to demand these things in order to entice, in order to get the deal done with New York City, New York City offered enticements. Why? Because their taxes are too high. Period. This is a signal to the marketplace that the tax rate in New York City is too high. Okay, but even with those high taxes, Amazon was willing to cut a deal. So they say, okay, look, we're not going to pay 30% of our estimated tax bill, or we want these credits up front, and then we'll generate whatever we're going to generate after that. Okay, this is the way this deal makes business sense for us. Okay, and you either take that or you leave it, because they'll go somewhere else. Because there's plenty of other states out there that want that business, plenty of other cities that wanted that business. Okay, I know for a fact we'd welcome them here in Florida. No one would complain about tax credits here in Florida. I can tell you that right now. So they're not subsidies. They're revenue the city of New York and the state of New York were never going to get. So all Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez did was scuttle a deal over lost revenue she was never going to get to pay for services she's never going to provide for the people of the city of New York. Period. That's it. Done. That's all. That's really what it comes down to. And the truth of the matter is, like it or not, those of you on the left, those of you who are anti-corporate. Now, I'm anti-corporate for a variety of different reasons, not for tax subsidies. Large employers have more leverage to showcase the fact that taxes are too high because the city needs their revenue. They need the economic activity. They need the economic activity of the small and medium enterprises as well, the SMEs. They need them as well. But employers like Amazon actually help drive the profitability of small and local businesses in some cases. Not the ones that Amazon is competing with, certainly. Supermarkets, classic showroom retail, and the rest, but in everything else, right? And one of the things that Simon Black brought up was that, Amazon's headquarters out in Seattle drives 330,000 hotel room nights a year. And at $300 a hotel room per night, that's a lot of money.
That's a big Twinkie.
And that's a lot of tax money, especially since the city of New York charges a 6% hospitality tax for every room night that you spend in New York City. So there's all this stuff that's going on here that there are attendant benefits, and we're not even talking about. This is just the rote. This is what will happen if what's happening in Seattle is replicated here from an official basis. We're not talking about the secondary and tertiary effects of having Amazon's business there, all of the things that they were going to build, the schools, the tech park, the this, that, all that other stuff, and the attendant and secondary and tertiary business that they would generate locally. None of that is estimated into the amount of money Amazon would pay in taxes to the city and state of New York every year from the beginning. None of it. See, the kind of corporate welfare and the kind of corporate subsidies I have a problem with, this is real corporate welfare. This is the fundamental difference between Amazon, who's just negotiating for a lower tax rate because they can, and something like the NFL or the NHL or the NBA shaking down a city to build a sports stadium with taxpayer money and getting tax credits on top of that to keep their beloved sports team in town, citing the secondary economic benefits as a means by which to fund the whole thing. But that is not part of that deal. Those things are terrible because there's no guarantee from the city's perspective that 5 or 7 years from now, after they built the stadium, which is now an albatross, which could possibly turn into an albatross, the team leaves anyway. Okay? That's corporate welfare. Okay? When the taxpayers are paying for the building and the zoning and all of it, and the team isn't, that's corporate welfare. What Amazon was going to do was build their own campus themselves, and they weren't going to not build, City of New York wasn't going to give them any money for this. It wasn't going to come out of taxpayers' pockets. It was money you guys never had in the first place. What you're complaining about is that you're only going to get $350 million a year as opposed to $500 million a year, and that wasn't good enough for you, so now you get nothing. And again, these are lowball numbers. The amount of tax revenue that Amazon would generate for the city and state of New York. So, meat nose, spite face. It's just that simple. It's been the Gold Goats and Guns short news for Monday, February 18th, 2019. If you like what you heard today, please give a like and subscribe down below. I'd really appreciate it. We're up over 2,000 people, and channel's kind of growing at a nice, steady rate. I really appreciate everybody who stops by. Again, stop by for the live stream tonight. So that's about all I got. You guys take care. Be good. Keep your stick on the ice.